So I think we should be recording now, which is lovely. So first of all, thank you ever so much for inviting me to speak at the ICTREV workshop. I've been following it actively online on Twitter today and yesterday, and it seems that you've been doing some really interesting work, and that leads me nicely on to what I'm actually going to talk about for the next 15 minutes or so. So Martina asked me to talk to everyone about how Twitter can be used as a way of providing informal CPD, and unsurprisingly, those people that know me, I thought I would talk a little bit about the MFL Twitterati. So for those people that don't know about my background, I was a languages teacher for 13 years, teaching French at secondary level and also at middle school level, 9 to 13-year-olds on the Isle of Wight, which is where I live, and it's where I am right now on a beautiful sunny day. And then in 2009 I decided to become an independent languages consultant and to travel around the world running training on the use of technology. And one thing I found absolutely invaluable is being part of a community of like-minded people as part of my personal learning network. For those people that want to know more about the things I've blogged about in the past, my blog is joedel.typepad.com. I've not updated it for a long time, but there's still some valuable information there if you'd like to have a look. And my email address is joedel@talk21.com, as you can see. And I'm joedel on Twitter as well. Feel free to follow me if you're not following me already. Right, so as I've sort of mentioned already, I'm going to talk about the MFL Twitterati, which is a UK and Irish-based community of language teachers, language organisations and language consultants. And officially, the community was born, I suppose, about 2008, and about 2010 to 2011, it really started to mushroom, and now there's about 2,500 members of the community. So in 2013, I wrote an article for The Guardian all about the rise of the MFL Twitterati and the impact on the classroom. I apologise for this message that keeps coming up. But never mind. Okay, so some of the impacts have been things like people who maybe feel a bit isolated feel that being part of the community is an incredibly supportive and useful idea, that they can improve their own professional development very easily. They can be part of a group. They can try things out. They can be a test bed for ideas. And there's lots and lots of benefits. They can find about the latest developments, the latest news. They can follow hashtags, etc., etc. So it's a really fantastic thing to be part of a community, and I'd really encourage you to have a look at this article if you haven't seen it already. Now, back in 2015, a couple of months ago, back in March of this year, I was part of an event called Thinking Differently. In Thinking Differently in Languages, which was the British Council that did this in London, and I was lucky enough to meet John Warne, who is the head of digital strategy at the British Council, and he wrote a blog post after the event in the Huffington Post UK when he talked about the event. But he also mentioned the MFL Twitterati because I was part of the testbed discussion group in the afternoon of that day, and that was very, very useful, I think, from the point of view of sharing the word about the MFL Twitterati to as many people as possible. And I was delighted that John wrote about this in the Huffington Post. And as you can see, one of the quotes that I've taken from the article is, "If you're not part of the MFL Twitterati, you're seriously missing out." And I mean, having said that, I'm not saying that people have to be part of the community, but those people who are part of it have found that it's really benefited them. But in anything, you get out what you put in, I think. And I would say that that is true of any community, online or face-to-face. Okay, there was also... let's go back a sec. There was also reference in The Guardian just after that about 7 big language learning issues facing the UK, and one of the issues was the importance of new technology and how we can get our heads around how we can use technology. And the MFL Twitterati was actually mentioned in this. In fact, I'm just briefly going to pop out of the presentation. I want some in Chrome, here we are, and take you to the actual article itself, which, as you can see, number 6, it says technology is a good match for languages. And it mentions the fact that over time the group has developed a strong ethos of sharing innovative classroom practice, encouraging each other to experiment and feedback their findings for further discussion and reflection. So that's wonderful that has appeared in The Guardian as one of the big language learning issues facing the UK. So I was absolutely delighted, and there we are. Moving on to the next idea. If you're not really sure where to start with this, I've actually created a guide for you, which is a 9-page PDF, which talks about how to, well, first of all, what Twitter is, what the MFL Twitterati is, how to sign up for an account, how to subscribe to the list which I've put together called the MFL Twitterers list, and I've also done one for language departments as well, which I'm sure you'll find interesting, and basically how to get involved. So if you're not really sure where to start, I think this is a really nice starting point, springboard for getting involved in the community. Now, in January of this year, Fernando Rossell Aguilar did some research as part of the Open University on the MFL Twitterati, which I was absolutely delighted about, and you can watch the presentation that he gave at the e-learning symposium in Southampton University, and you can also watch the presentation on SlideShare as well. But if you want to watch the recording, you can click on the first coursecast link. But if you want to just look at the slides, then you can check out the SlideShare. So what Fernando did, he contacted me beforehand and asked if this was okay, because obviously he appreciated this was sort of like my baby, as it were, being as it has been described, the MFL Twitteratus, or the head of the MFL Twitterati, if you like, or the person that created it. And I said that's absolutely fine. I was delighted, flattered that the Open University wanted to do some research on this. Now, as part of the research, Fernando did a survey, and in the survey he asked quite a few different questions. I'm not going to go through all of the different questions that he asked, but I thought this one was good, in particular, saying the different ways in which the people who are part of the community have been using the MFL Twitterati. And as you can see, that ideas such as sharing ideas, inspiration, continuous professional development, support, all of these are appearing as benefits of being part of the community. But the sharing of the ideas is the most important thing in a way here, and I think you can have teachers who are good teachers who are sharing ideas, who take good ideas and make them into great ideas, and that's really fantastic. So I'm glad that he identified that within his research, as well as many other things, but which you can check out in the SlideShare. Here are some quotes that he took from people's responses in this survey that he did. And again, you can see some of the ways in which people feel that their teaching has improved. In a real situation, I would just give you some time to read this, but for the benefit of the recording, I suppose I should read some of these out. So you can see it saying things like, my lessons are planned with a wider variety of activities, and activities are less repetitive. So people are being given access to lots and lots of ideas, and they can then take those ideas and adapt them in their own way and put their own stamp on it. So in a way, you're sort of remixing ideas, creating your own ideas and sharing them with the community, which I think is very, very powerful. So that's useful, seeing some of the quotes from the teachers involved in the survey. Now, the next point I'm going to sort of move on to, now it's all very well getting all these ideas, but a really important skill in the 21st century is curation. So what I mean by curation is being able to take all this information that is being bombarded at you, and to collect it into useful places such as Storify or Flipboard or Scoop.it or Pinterest or other such tools which allow you to collect links together and make them appear visually appealing. Now, in relation to iPads, those people that know me know that I'm particularly interested in how iPads can be used to enhance language learning, and so I created a Storify which allowed me to collect all the tweets related to iPads in languages, particularly those which showed real classroom use in the languages classroom, whereby a teacher would have tweeted a picture of the iPad with the students involved, said what the iPad app was, and said how they were using that. And I found that really, really useful, and I'm sure you'd find it useful as well, not only from the point of view of the ideas, but also in a way more importantly from the point of view that the Twitter usernames of those involved are very clearly identified in each tweet. So all you'd have to do is just follow that person and carry on that conversation and ask them how they were using the app in question in that particular context. And to storify tweets as well as other media, it's very, very useful. You use what's called a bookmarklet, and you simply install the bookmarklet into your browser, be it on a PC, a Chromebook, an iPad, an Android device, etc. And then you just click on the Storify button, or Storify this as it's called, and a little icon will appear which you click on in Twitter, for example, and you can just add the Storify tweet to your collection. Now, if you want to have a look at this one, you can either scan the QR code or click on, or go to the link underneath there, storify.com/Joe Dale/iPads in MFL. Okay, now I thought it would be useful to sort of pinpoint a particular tool which I find very useful for curation as well as Storify, and that's Flipboard. Now, Flipboard allows you to create your own magazine of links. It's a little bit like a visual RSS reader, I suppose, but it allows you to aggregate the content that you are interested in and make your own magazines. So you can have multiple magazines running at the same time, and I think that's absolutely brilliant. So I wrote an article in September 2014 which is all about creating your own languages magazine using Flipboard. And what I thought I would do now is come out of the presentation and literally show you how this would work. Now, because literally this morning I bought a Chromebook, I thought I would show you how to install the Chrome. Well, actually show you, but indicate the page that you would need to install the Flipit bookmarklet into Chrome. And basically, you would just go to this page, as you can see, it says share.flipboard.com, and then just click on install the extension, and then go from there. And then it will appear, as you can see, top right here. You can see the Flipboard bookmarklet. And then if I were to, and likewise you can do the same sort of thing if you have an iPad. If you search for share.flipboard.com, then you'll find the code that you need to activate the bookmarklet in Safari. And so that's all very straightforward. So I can see here on my Twitter page that there are brilliant. I can see that there are a few links which are coming through right now. So if I wanted to find a link, let's have a quick look. If I wanted to find a link, there was one this morning, because as I said, I've been following this. Here we are. This link here that Sinead has tweeted. If I click on this link now, it's come up in my browser, and then all I need to do is click on Flipboard once it's loaded, as you can see. If I click on Flipboard now, then a little window will come up. You need to log in first of all, which I've already done, and then literally all I need to do is select the magazine, and the magazine that is selected at the moment is this one called ILILC 6, which is the magazine I'm curating at the moment. But I've got these other ones here as well, which you can see also. And if I just click Add Now, I think, anyway, it should work. Yeah, there we are. If I click Add Now, then that link will go into my magazine. Perfect, so we've done it. Now if I go to this tab, you can see that here are where my magazines are, and if I click on this one like this, then what will happen is it will start to load, and then you'll be able to see, there we are, can you see? And then you can see that that's straight now into my magazine. And if I start to scroll down, this works particularly nicely on the iPad because you have this sort of like flippable magazine. I've got all these articles which I've curated recently. So anything you come across, if you have the bookmarklet installed on your on whatever browser you're using or whatever device you're using, it means that you can automatically add that link to one magazine or multiple magazines, and then you can get the share link for that magazine, give that to learners, give that to students, give that to colleagues. And then because it's a dynamic magazine, whenever you add new content to that magazine, it will update it automatically. So, for example, I was showing this to an assistant head teacher in Kuala Lumpur who got very excited about the idea that he could come across interesting EdTech articles, put them into a magazine, share the link with the staff at the start of the year, and then they would have access to all the stories that he then added to it throughout the year. So I thought that was pretty cool, to say the least. And that was essentially what I wanted to say. So my understanding now is we're going to have a bit of Q&A, but hopefully you found that interesting and it's given you food for thought. And I would really encourage the ICTREV community to follow suit and to imitate some of the things we've been doing in the MFL Twitterati. I mean, there's been other things as well. There've been sort of face-to-face meetups. There's been video recordings as well. But I think to give you a flavour of the value of being part of a community for sharing, creating, remixing, etc., and to then curate that content into a Flipboard magazine or Scoop It or Pinterest or Storify is a very valuable thing to do. But thank you for listening.